Hi, everyone, and welcome to our workshop today, Refuge from the Storm. We are so excited to welcome our guest presenter today, John Lewis Parker, who will be teaching us about mindfulness and meditation and leading us through a powerful meditation exercise that we can use in our daily lives. We also have a very special celebrity guest presenter who will be joining us at the end to inspire us tremendously with his powerful coaching and teachings, and I'll leave it till the end to see who he is. John will be introducing him later on. I'm Bridget Sampson. I am the CEO of Sampson Coaching and Consulting, and we design and deliver transformative training, coaching, and retreats around leadership, communication, and much more. We are doing our best to be of service in the world. We know that people are struggling and these are difficult times, and so we are offering a monthly free workshop on Zoom on a variety of topics, and we just want to be of service and to help people the best way that we can. So last month our workshop was on race and racism. I hope that you'll look for that on our YouTube channel. It was presented by well-loved, amazing speaker Lauren N. Nile, who is a diversity trainer, a retired attorney, and has traveled the world teaching people about unconscious bias and how to unlearn racism. So important. Next month's workshop is on transgender inclusion and advocacy, and we'll be welcoming the very well-known speaker as well, Johanna Clearwater, who is a transgender activist and speaker. A documentary, beautiful documentary about her life will be available on a special limited basis only to those who sign up for the workshop. It's called Becoming Johanna, incredible film made by filmmaker and has won many awards by filmmaker Jonathan Skurnick. So please join us for that. It will be September 29 at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much again for being here. I am ready to turn it over to Todd, who will be introducing our guest speaker, who he has a very interesting connection with, you'll see. And Todd Parker is our superstar, just rock star senior consultant who's been working for the company for 8 years. And we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are without him and his energy and creativity and brilliant mind. So Todd, thank you so much. I'll let you take it away and introduce our speaker.
Is that this is really coming full circle. My father, John Lewis Parker, and my uncle Joe, both on the call here and offering, an abundance of wisdom. They are the greatest influences in my life and really responsible for teaching me healthy habits of both body and mind. And so in bringing it full circle, as a kid, I used to play sports, played basketball, played football, right? And, Joe, you probably remember this, I had circles that I would step into and power words and anchor words and songs. Like I had the Funkadelics, I think it was, I won't even say all the words to the song because they're curse words, the title of the song, but that was my upbringing, right? Figuring out healthy habits of mind and ways to prime myself and put myself in a place, in a mindset that could help me get to the things that I wanted to achieve in life. So in keeping with adding value to all of your lives and in these free workshops each month that we're offering, what better way than to share with you the gentlemen who have been most influential in my life. So it's our sincere hope that this hour, I'm proud of all of you for carving out this hour to devote to yourself, to get to know yourself that much better, because this will only hopefully add to those healthy habits of mind and body that you're already in pursuit of. So without further ado, John Lewis Parker is an award-winning songwriter, producer, and happy family man. I can attest to that. A couple of his credits, just so you know who he is: Chicago, Celine Dion, Dolly Parton, Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Browne, Keb' Taj Mahal, Roseanne Cash, the Pointer Sisters, Olivia Newton-John, Jefferson Starship, Johnny Mathis, Bobby Caldwell, and the list goes on and on. You can check him out somewhere online, but he's an accomplished man, and so much of his credits, he credits his daily practice of mindful meditation as the foundation to his success, as well as his ability to overcome a variety of health challenges. So today, John's going to guide us in mindful meditation. He's going to share his method, the art of pausing, which is an instant process for achieving balance and clarity, which you'll be able to facilitate anytime, anywhere during the day. At the end, John's going to offer some ideas and some info about his workshops, his mindfulness workshops, and build on the foundation that we've been created over this next hour, just helping to become more focused, more present, and really just more emotionally resilient in the face of all the stresses and challenges that we're facing each day. And oh, do we know that life is sure throwing us some challenges these days. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to you, John, and enjoy this experience.
Well, hi, y'all. Thank you, Bridget and Ty, for having me. And thanks, a lot of my relatives are here. It's great. I didn't have to be so nervous, as it turns out. Except they'll be talking in the family, you know, there'll be some calls. So there I was, as some of you know, a child of the 60s. As a young guy, I couldn't handle school or a real job. I was a hippie, searching the world for happiness and blaming the world for my unhappiness. Luckily, this hippie found meditation. And by meditating, I began to realize that while the outside world was challenging, my real challenge was my own mind and my self-defeating thoughts. And I don't, maybe some of you have those. With meditation as my foundation, I have a beautiful 52-year marriage, 3 kids, one that's here, the career that I was born to do, and financial stability. And of course, I worked hard for it. But to me, it was a miracle, because back in the day, nobody was betting on me. As I wound down my career, I had time to give back, and I began teaching meditation to friends at high schools and colleges and veterans groups. I established a program at the local senior center, and I began doing workshops around the world with Joseph McClendon, the head trainer for Tony Robbins' organization. And Joseph's here today and will speak later. You might recognize him as the guy that shares the stage with Tony. Today, we're going to do 2 practices, mindful meditation and the art of pausing, which is an instant meditation. My goal is that an hour from now, everyone here will know how to meditate. And I know many of you probably already do know how. The 13th century poet Rumi said, "Yesterday I was so clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am so wise, so I'm changing myself." The purpose of meditation isn't just to reduce stress, although it absolutely does. Its greater purpose is to make fundamental discoveries in the workshop of your own mind. Your mind is malleable and trainable, and mindful meditation is the way to train it. You really can change. I know some of my old friends were telling me recently that they're depressed and, you know, they're old now, and you really can change now. And of course, we're already experts at knowing what the untrained mind is. That's why so many of us can be so damn smart, but can be so miserable and depressed and suffering. You know, one day you're happy with things, everything's going great, but then something negative happens, or somebody says something, or you remember an old problem, and bam, your whole world crashes down in a moment. Does that sound familiar? Gosh, I was just so happy. What happened? We spend our lives daydreaming about the past, worrying about the future, planning and scheming. We say, I just know I'll be happy when I get to this or that. But when that day of achievement comes, what do? We immediately raise the bar and our lifestyle, because we're never satisfied. It's a crazy way to live, but isn't that exactly how we live? Well, now suddenly everything's changed. Before the pandemic, our lives had a rhythm, and we felt we understood ordinary reality. Now suddenly everything's up in the air, isn't it? The pandemic has exposed the illusion of what we thought was a solid reality and of what will make us happy. We're afraid of losing our identity and our security, our physical comfort, so our minds are struggling. We ask, who are we? Where are we going? When will it end? We fantasize about what we'll do when it's over. You know, we're not on this earth forever, so we don't want to waste time being depressed and anxious, do we? Ideally, we want to capture every moment, accept what's happening, and find equanimity and joy because we won't be here long. The most important question now is, what are we supposed to be doing in this situation? Right now, there's a collective anxiety everywhere, and we're exhausted. Isn't everybody exhausted? We want refuge from the storm. But where on earth is there to go? There's no place to go. Today, we're going to take refuge in awareness, the enlightened, awakened part of our own minds. It's the part we tap into when we meditate. With mindfulness, you'll be able to see that all the fear and anxiety in your mind is simply your mind's display of fear and anxiety. There's the situation, the pandemic, and there's the story you tell yourself about the pandemic. The pandemic is real, and the stories your mind is spinning are just thoughts, and thoughts aren't real. They're literally all in your mind. With mindfulness, you become, mindful. You begin to see your suffering, pain, and struggle as the story your mind is telling you. In other words, it's really happening out there, but your mind is promoting these stories. As mindfulness grows with consistent practice, there's almost a joyous aspect, experiencing freedom and liberation from your own mind. That's what gives you real happiness. More rich happiness based on, it's more than the happiness that you get when you're accumulating things, you know? That's why those gurus you see seem so childlike and happy. They play life's game, and yet they're able to be truly objective to it. And so they laugh at it. It'd be nice to be that way, huh? What matters is to live life to its fullest and to love and give to the world as best you can. The meditation we're going to do today is a two-step process. A few moments of focusing on the breath and a few minutes of not focusing on the breath. So that's easy to remember. It's going to be about maybe 15 or 20 minutes that we're going to meditate now. So we're going to do a few minutes on the breath and a few minutes not focusing on the breath, and I'll guide you. So now, please give yourself a break. You know, some of you I know are walking around, I can see, or make sure you don't go to the bathroom. Don't forget, don't forget you're on camera. So I'm sure, you're going to enjoy this. So give yourself a break, allow yourself to give yourself over to this guided meditation. And now let's do it, okay? So everyone, let's begin by everyone closing their eyes and relaxing your shoulders. Just close your eyes and relax. Acclimate yourself and settle in and just relax. Sit in whatever position is most comfortable to you, where you feel like you can sit for a little while. Your posture should give rise to a sense of balance, ease, and comfort. Rest your hands on your knees or on the table where your computer is, or whatever is comfortable for you, and whatever helps you concentrate. Remember that no matter how you may feel right now, there's always great value in the meditation. So don't worry if you're not feeling it right now. Simply sit and feel yourself sitting here on this earth with your feet solidly on the ground. Feel your whole body with those feet grounding you. You might notice your body has a little tension or you have some sort of ache or pain. First, a few deep breaths, blowing the out breath forcefully, can really help with this. So let's try 3 deep breaths, forcefully blowing the out breath as if you're letting go of all your tensions of the day, all your expectations, your emotions, your perceptions, whatever happened just before you got here. Picture blowing them all away with the out breath. Okay, let's try those 3 breaths like that. Do it on your own time. Meditation may not be what you think. We're not trying to get into a special altered state of mind or escape. The purpose of meditation is to simply relax and drop the burden of your thoughts, concepts, and ideas, to arrive at an inner vantage point where you're no longer lost in your thoughts. It's as simple as that. We're usually lost in our thoughts. It's a place where you can go and observe your thoughts objectively without clinging to them, judging them, or categorizing them. So what's your intention today as you sit here? What is it that you want to accomplish? It could be something very personal, something in your life, or as big as changing the world. Take a moment to think, what do I intend for this session and for today? Take a moment. To achieve this, we're going to use 2 steps. The first step is focusing on our normal breath to focus and concentrate our minds. Now, there's nothing magical about the breath, but it's great to use because it's always there. It's very portable. You take it everywhere you go, and you don't have to believe in anything to feel the breath. So now, with your eyes closed, narrow your attention, focusing on your normal breath, not some great deep breathing or some special breath, but just whatever breath is there right now. Narrow your focus. You may be surprised how you're breathing. Don't change anything. Just gently focus. Notice you're breathing in and you're breathing out. Do it gently and notice it gently. Breathing in and breathing out. Where do you experience the breath? Maybe it's the air passing through your nostrils, stomach, the diaphragm, chest. It's usually at the nostrils. Wherever you feel it, focus where you feel it. Stay relaxed and gently focus. There's nothing else happening in your consciousness except the breathing. Stay with your breath for a minute. And where is your mind now? Did you forget about the breath? Not to worry. At first, you may be surprised at how many thoughts and emotions you may see in your mind. Maybe you've been distracted by thoughts or stories, sounds in the room, outside, your body sensations, like an itch. This first step of meditation is simply this. Each time you realize you've been distracted by something, distracted from your breath, don't feel bad at all. Just gently redirect your mind back to focusing on the breath. When you leave a thought alone, since the nature of the thought is empty and transient, it'll always dissolve. So, observe your consciousness by observing your breath. Keep your mind on your breath. Make it the star of your consciousness. Your thoughts are like waves rising in your consciousness, but they always dissolve back into consciousness immediately, just like waves dissolve back into the ocean. Let's continue. Each time you lose track of your breath and realize it, gently, very gently redirect your mind. And where are you now? When we pay attention to a finite object like the breath, our mind stops spinning stories. Whenever we're suffering, it means that we're attached to a thought. Whenever we're happy, we're just experiencing another thought. When the mind stops, all our problems stop, and there's great relief. So let's redirect our minds back to focusing on the breath. And you'll notice that when you stay with your breath, you're no longer spinning stories. Let's go back to the breath. When you notice you're distracted, it's a good thing. It's called the golden moment. The mind's natural state is to wander. That's just what it does. Think of it like a muscle, like a gentle workout that you're doing. Becoming distracted is the relaxing of the muscle. Redirecting and focusing back to the breath completes the rep. In other words, you're supposed to become distracted. You can't help but become distracted. Of course, years of meditating, you become less distracted, but really what happens is you become more aware that you're distracted by training your mind this way. You see what I'm saying? You're training your mind by allowing yourself to become distracted and focusing your mind back on your breath. You're training the mind. Let's do this a little while longer. This is also teaching your mind about concentration. That's what it's called. Step one is called concentration. You're learning how to focus much more. Some people that meditate only do this step one, and it's totally effective. It could be all you have to do. If you're having trouble remembering the steps of this meditation, just simply do step 1, the rep, the workout of trying to keep focus on your breath, becoming distracted, noticing it, and gently, very gently, moving back to the breath. Now that you understand that that's what's supposed to be happening, you realize you're not failing when you lose your focus. It's totally normal. Perhaps your mind has calmed a bit from the time you closed your eyes. That's why we concentrated on the breath, to focus and calm the mind. We'll now do the second step called awareness, or you could call it mindfulness, either one. For this step, take a break from focusing on your breath. No more trying to focus on the breath. And just relax deeply. Don't even try to meditate. Just sit there, the normal you. Your eyes could be open or closed. Just sit there and leave your mind as it is in its natural state, whatever that is right now. Let go of all your expectations about meditation. You don't have to alter your mind and try to see something wonderful or get to this amazing place. All the natural qualities of your natural mind, peace, openness, relaxation, and clarity, are present in your mind just as it is. You don't have to be a great meditator or a special person. This part of your mind that you began to see, called the observer, becomes a witness to your own thoughts. That's what we're doing here. That's the value of meditation. So let's just sit and see if you can, like a fish swimming with other fish, and they're the thoughts. Like a fish, just see if you can just kind of see your thoughts and you watching them like clouds in the sky, just watching, and see if you can maintain watching them without being sort of kidnapped by one of them. Try that for a few minutes. Some of you might have gotten way into a story or a thought. Doesn't matter. Right now is sort of preparation for real life. When you're out in the world and things overtake you, this is training your mind to go back to your mind, returning yourself to your own mind, no matter what situation you're in. And I'll have a practice in a moment after we finish this that actually does that to a greater degree. You don't have to do anything different to develop your awareness. Awareness, and that part of your mind, of your consciousness, is already there naturally. All you have to do is observe the mind as it is. Awareness is the observer. The observer is the pure natural state of your own mind, untouched by the conditioning of your life experience, like a clean hard drive. Like when you were born, the observer in you still exists like that clean hard drive and can see reality clearly, unclouded by all your experiences. Just sit among your thoughts and notice when you wake up from one of those dreams. We're doing this without the breath. And if you want, let's say a thought really has you. You're thinking about what's for lunch, or will I have do I have COVID, or what am I going to do later, or how am I going to make money? If you have a thought that's really grabbing you and you're really clinging to it, you can just go back to step one for a minute. When you feel like something is really strong and pulling you away from just sitting there, go back to your breath for a minute, stabilize your focus with it, and then go back to just your awareness, just sitting there without using your breath. It's kind of like being in the kiddie pool for a minute and then going into the big pool without a tube. And then if you feel like you can't swim for a minute, you're having a little trouble, something's really pulling at you, some thought, you go back and use your breath, and then go back to just being aware. When your mind relaxes, something else happens. We awaken to to your unconditioned happiness that's dormant. You wake it up. You could call it your godlike nature, Buddha nature, clean hard drive. It doesn't matter. It's all the same source, the natural, purest state of your own mind. You've always had this. It's as if you went into your backyard and suddenly discovered a buried treasure you never knew was there. In the same way, by meditating, you can learn to access this hidden treasure inside of you. Now, before we finish, make a promise to yourself. Make an intention to carry this pure mind state into your daily lives for the remainder of the day, wherever you are. Let's each make our own promise to keep this relaxed awareness all day. In a moment, we'll end this process. And when we do, the first few moments will be the transition period between the meditative process and everyday life. So let's just be aware of the transition now. And now please open your eyes. And here we are. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Now, I'm sure all of you had different experiences meditating. Some of you may have found peace and serenity. Others of you were struggling, surprised by the amount of thoughts running through your head. Some of you may have enjoyed being the observer as you watched your thoughts. Whatever your response was today, I can tell you that tomorrow may be completely different. That's what keeps meditation exciting, because the human mind is forever changing. The point is, you're getting to know your own mind by objectively seeing how it operates every day. And this knowing is the cure. You might say, well, now I see what I am. What the hell, what am I going to do? Well, how can I change it? The knowing is the cure. By seeing clearly through meditation, with all your stuff exposed to you, you begin to change. your mind changes. Tomorrow you might want to give it a try. Morning is a good time to do it because you'll start your day grounded and balanced. But anytime, at lunch, after dinner, anytime is good. You could begin with 3 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, or however long you wish, whatever feels right for you. It's all about integrating it into your life. You set up a routine like you would for studying or dieting or exercise. Find a quiet place in your home and sit in a comfortable chair. Set a timer for how long you intend to sit, because you don't want to interrupt your concentration by checking your watch all the time. It's very distracting. Sometimes you sit there going, gosh, how long do I have left? You want to look at your watch, but if you set your timer, then you just can wait and it'll go off. It's not about spending hours and hours meditating. It's more important to do it consistently, just like brushing your teeth. Like if you do that every day, like if you met somebody who said, I brush my teeth for an hour every Sunday, and I take the rest of the week off, I think you'd say, hey, buddy, back off a little. Can you give me a little space? Now, I'd like to show you another valuable practice, something you can do anytime, anywhere, that's been tremendously valuable to me with my depression. That I don't know if I was born with it or I was just lucky to have those parents. First of all, most people are walking around unaware that their minds are constantly chattering. The mind produces thoughts like the mouth produces saliva. And our own random thoughts can be like little dictators, and our own thoughts aren't necessarily true. It's maybe something you never thought of, but your thoughts may not be true. You're wishing and hoping, anxiety and fear, it's all taking place in your head. Mark Twain once said, I've been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. People are angry or depressed. They create a virtual world in their heads and mistake it for reality. And then they may act inappropriately. It can go on for hours, days, weeks. You know people like that. And it might be you. An extreme example is like the schizophrenic on the street, yelling at the sky. What is that person's perspective? How did they get that way? I was originally going to say, what's his perspective? But I didn't want to leave the ladies out. Anyway, since we can't formally meditate the whole day, what we can do is pause and do short little sessions in a moment, anytime, anywhere. So using the acronym STOP, S-T-O-P, here's what you do. Any place, anywhere, anytime. You could be talking to somebody. As soon as you're not talking, S, stop for a brief moment. T, take a breath. O, observe what you're thinking. And P, proceed with your day. Try it with me right now. Pretend, I am talking. But while I'm talking, stop for a moment. Take a breath. Observe what you're thinking. And now proceed with your day. You can do that anywhere, anytime, and no one will ever notice you're meditating. Like even if, let's say, the boss is yelling at you, you go, oh, this is a good time to do that. How can I relax and not say what I want to say? Stop, take a breath, observe what you're thinking, proceed with your day. And the moment it takes for you to do this, you wake up automatically and observe your inner dialogue. Just like you did when you were meditating, could see what you're thinking. You might wake up from a simple daydream or some bizarre, unhelpful thinking. That's what my tendency is to bizarre and unhealthy, resulting in periods of depression that I used to get. What I decided to do was set my phone alarm to go off different times during the day or to vibrate every hour. And no matter where I was, I used it to train my mind to stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed. I could be walking my dog in Los Angeles, but my mind could be, in an office building in New York, arguing with a lawyer. Put me in a bad mood, even though I'm walking my dog. So much negativity had been coloring my life all along, and I was totally unaware. Helped me create a good habit. These days, it's automatic now. When my mind starts doing a negative thing, I wake up. I actually hear it. I'll start like, I don't like my neighbor because he does, he's a jerk sometimes. So when I see him, I start going like in my mind. And the minute I do that, I hear it automatically because I do this practice. I've trained my mind, and the depression I would experience for long periods of time has dropped away. I didn't know that would happen. I never dreamed that that could happen, that I could be not depressed. When you wake up after 2 weeks and go, where the hell was I? What have I been doing? Or 2 hours. So anywhere, anytime, standing in line in a doctor's waiting room, sitting in traffic, in a meeting at work, thinking like in a business situation, how many times you wished, God damn, I wish I was thinking on my feet back there. I would have said this, this, and this. Well, with this, you will be thinking on your feet. And for your health, imagine how effective it would be to cut off destructive thoughts that are feeding this negativity, that are feeding these health things. It's really helped me, I know that. So in the beginning, set your alarm and then stop for a moment, take a breath, observe what you're thinking, proceed with your day. It's called the art of pausing. Of course, you're still going to have moments lost in thoughts and emotions. That's why we try to establish a consistent daily practice, meditating in whenever you do it and doing this art of pausing all day. Think of the positive trajectory that your mind could get from this, by responding to situations rather than reacting to them. Each time you had a situation where you might have gone down, you respond instead of reacting, and you go up a little. And you go up a little, the next one, and you go up a little. And that's how my life has been. That's the only explanation I have for why my life did so well when nobody would bet on it. So right now, for a couple of minutes, we could have a little bit of questions and comments. And then I'm going to bring on Joseph McClendon for a minute and just do a quick review. So does anybody have a question or a comment? Let's see.
Hi, John.
Hi.
It's Lauren. I actually do have one question, and that is that I do have a meditation practice. It's part of a spiritual path that I'm on, and it's recommended that we meditate at least 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. I've made tremendous progress in getting control over my mind by doing that. I wouldn't say tremendous. I've made progress. But my feeling is that if I devoted more than just 30 minutes a day, this is just my intuitive sense, if I could really say set aside, I don't know, a day every 3 months, maybe quarterly, and really just spend a day in deep meditation or something, maybe 4 hours a day once every 2 weeks or something, that I'd make a lot more progress much faster. Because like every other human being, I usually don't have control over my mind for more than 3 seconds. And I want to make more progress more quickly. So what do you think about actually setting aside, larger amounts of time, maybe going on a retreat, a silent retreat every 6 months or once a year to really try to hasten the progress? What are your thoughts, John?
Well, yeah, of course, it would be tremendous. That's why they have those retreats. I hope maybe that organization where you're learning that meditation has that. I go to things online as well. Every Sunday there's a spiritual teacher that is free meditation, and then he gives a lecture. I do that. I have made it sort of the center, and everything else revolves around it. Yet I'm just available for everything anyway, but absolutely, taking a day is wonderful. When I was much younger and much more, gung ho, I once meditated for 3 hours a day for months at a time, in a row, without. I just wouldn't have a day without it. But I got to tell you, all the things in my life absolutely just went up, 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 up. And I didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? My life was just getting better. So, of course, knowing your mind more and more like you're learning it is tremendous. I do about 40 minutes in the morning now. I don't do anything in the evening. But again, I wake up all day like that, the way I used to use it with my phone, doing the pausing. I wake up all day long. So what happens eventually is your life itself becomes the meditation. Everything is a meditation. As you're, while I was getting this presentation together, that was a meditation. While I'm writing the song, that's a meditation. Everything becomes a meditation. So, it's an obvious answer. Absolutely, that you knew I was going to say. Absolutely, do it as much as you can, or whatever's comfortable, without feeling indebted to somebody or something. Because that's another thing with our Judeo-Christian background and everything. Even today, I always feel like somebody's watching, and saying, "Oh, that was good. So you're going to have a real great day today. That was a good meditation." I kind of expect it. So I thought, okay, you expect it. So it's not bad to expect a good thing, but it ain't because somebody's watching. It's because I'm doing it. Okay? Yeah, thank you. Any other quick questions? Well, without further ado, I'm going to bring on Joseph McClendon III, the great, the guy that shares the only person Tony Robbins will share a stage with. Here he is. My old friend and mentor. I knew him when he was just Joe. They added the Steph. When they added the Steph, I still just call him Joe, but he's Joseph to everyone else. Take it away, Joe.
Thanks, John. Thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. First off, thank you for that. I always enjoy your live meditations even more than your recorded meditations. So I appreciate that. And it was a nice journey to go on again. Thank you so much. And hello, everybody. And Todd, yes, I do remember those days back in your football and basketball days. I've known John and Todd for, gosh, 30 years now, I guess. Yeah, maybe a little longer than that. And so I only have 5 minutes, so I'll jump right in. And so if you could, everybody, what I want to make sure that I do is I give you something of value, something that you can do as well, and give you a literal call to action, something that you could do to do what John said, and that is to not allow your thoughts to hold you hostage. I love that saying because that's what happens to us. I know all of us, it's like you wake up an hour later and realize that you've gone down this rabbit hole that wasn't necessarily true or didn't serve you. And so if you would, please do 3 things. Number 1, open up your chat. Just click on the thing that says chat there so that your chat will be live so that you can respond back to me just for the moment, because this will be audience participation, if you will. And then while you're doing that, also make sure that you have a pad and paper so you can write a couple things down. And I'll share with you. And again, I only have a few minutes, so I'm gonna move fairly quickly. My background, I'm a neuropsychologist, and I, for many, many years, help people get over fears and phobias and emotional challenges that hinder their lives. But I will say this, I'm unorthodox. If you come into my office and you got a fear of dogs, there's going to be a dog in the office. And at the end of that hour, you're going to hold the dog and you're going to be fine. And I'm going to give you something to do so that when you leave there, it enhances the rest of your life as well. Kind of like what John was just talking about with regard to what you do outside of here. And so because I'm a psychologist, I'm a bit of a scientist as well. And if you're a scientist, it means that whatever your hypothesis is based in fact. And so I'm going to be a little bit semantic here for a moment. And again, I don't have the time to explain it, but everything that I ask you to do is for a reason and a purpose. So all I'm going to ask you to do is in your chat room, just type a 1. Just type the number 1, if you will. So I know you're there. Fabulous, fabulous. We're all on board. And this, just to let you know, it's kind of wax on, wax on. And John or Todd, if you would, please keep me honest on my time. Go like that when it's time for me to shut the hell up. Because what these guys didn't tell you is that I generally do seminars that last anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day, 4 and 5 hours, 4 and 5 days in a row. Okay, so I'm going to be a little semantic on this. And what I want you to write down at the top of your page is this: words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. Okay, if you can't write, I think you're going to rebroadcast this. You can go back there and do it later. But I want to let you know what this is so that you know where we're going with this and so why this is so powerful. Okay, so words have the ability to change your biochemical makeup. If I say I love you, those words actually make your brain release something called dopamine that makes you feel good. If I say you're a jerk, I hate you, those words release what's called cortisol that make you feel bad. That's the simple version of it, okay? So these are the first 2 words that I want to give you. We've all heard these 2 sayings: mind, body, spirit, okay? But I want you to write these words down: mind, spirit, body. Okay? Mind, spirit, body. For a reason, okay? The second thing I want you to write down is journey versus, the third thing, sorry, journey versus voyage, okay? Now, let me go back to front. We've heard this so many times that life is a journey and we're on a journey. Yeah, that's true, but a journey is exhausting because a journey, you never get to the end, do you? It's always one more thing after that. And if that's in your mind, if those words are in your mind, then it's exhausting and it doesn't feel as good. Versus a voyage. A voyage, you embark at a certain point, you go on an adventure, you reach a destination, you gather some resources, and you bring them back to your life to enhance your life. So I choose to use the word voyage that we're on every single day. We embark on a voyage every single morning. And at the end of that day, you've had an adventure, you've had stuff that you're going to use to go forward. And especially even today with what I'm going to share with you to do outside of here. And then when we think of mind, body, spirit, I want you to think of it this way: mind, spirit, body. Your mind are your thoughts. That's all it is. Let's just break it down to what truth is. That's your mind are just your thoughts. The thoughts that you say, yak, yak, yak all day long, and the images that we're making. Thoughts make you feel a certain way. And from your feelings, your body responds that way. If you have crappy thoughts, then you're going to have crappy feelings and you're going to have crappy activity. Your body is it's not going to heal as well. It's going to be sick. You're not going to get up off your ass and do the things that you're doing. You're going to do all those things in succession. Type of 1 if this makes sense to you. Okay? Audience participation. Great. All right. Now, next I want you to write this. Words equal thoughts that trigger emotions. Okay? And that's all it is. And like I said before, every word that you say, there causes a biochemical change in your body. Endorphins, dopamines, adrenalines, cortisol, all of those things that make you feel good or bad. So the choice of your words will determine how you're going to feel in any moment. And then that will in turn determine what you do. Type of 1 if that makes sense. Okay. Next, I want you to write wisdom, because that's what the topic is, words of wisdom, okay? Wisdom equals activity. Activity, not action. You've heard this most of the time. So, positive thinking and motivational speakers say, knowledge is not power. We know that. Action is power. Well, no, it's not. It's only temporary power. Action is doing something once or twice, 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then you're done with it. You're going to get some result, but you're not going to get that voyage type result. Activity means doing action over and over and over and over again till these 2 things happen. Number 1, you pass your goal. And then number 2, you build a muscle that continues, that sustains that activity. Activity is continued action. Type of 1 if that makes sense. Okay. So let's go back to that. What words are just triggers. So here's the question, and this is a rhetorical question at this stage, which John's going to help you answer that question after this, going forward, okay? And that is this: What words are you saying to yourself on a regular basis that uplift you? What words, if words determine how you feel constantly, what words are you constantly saying to yourself that uplift you? Now, obviously, most of us have that, and I did for a long time until I started practicing what John was talking about. I had the internal dialogue from hell. Type of 1 if you got one of those going on as well. Okay? And that is those words that are just going, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not fast enough, you're too black, you're too white, you're too fat, you're too short, you know, any of that stuff. That is part of what John said earlier, that is the human tendency for the mind to wander. And with being unchecked, and unfortunately, with the input that we're getting from all of the digital distractions, that input is taking us down a rabbit hole that is not designed to keep us feeling good about ourselves, unfortunately. But we have weapons to change that around, to interrupt those patterns. And I only have a few minutes to chat with you, but I hope this makes sense, okay? Now, so if you have those words, I want you to write this last word down. Love lifting. Love lifting. And those are the words that you want that increase the love that's going on. Words that praise you, words that lift you up, words that make you feel good, that trigger your nervous system to release the dopamines and the endorphins and things like that, that make you feel good. With activity, it turns into the way that we live. Our brain tends to go that way. Type of 1 if this all makes sense. Now, I got a bunch I could teach you, but I've only got a minute and a half left. So I'm going to share with you something to do, 2 things to do. Here's your activity that I want you to do, 2 of them. Number 1, I call it the mirror exercise. Start this today and do this as in conjunction with what I'm going to have you do with John, okay? Number 1, go to the mirror and look yourself in the eyes. Don't just look around your face till you get that, you're just going to, you're getting wrinkles here, you're starting to sag here. I mean, look directly deep into your own eyes till you get that feeling, the feeling that I'm talking about, where you're looking at your own beautiful, precious soul. It may quirk you for a second, it may shake you for a minute, it may bring tears to your eyes, but when you do, look yourself in the eyes and say the magic words. There's 4 of them. Number 1 is your name. Write that down. Say your name. Now again, there's a method to my madness. Remember, you come into my office, there's a dog going to be there if you're afraid of dogs. This is your dog. Face it. Look yourself in the eyes, and whatever comes up in that moment, say the second 3 magic words. You know what they are. I love you. And whatever comes up from that, watch me very closely, because this next piece is very difficult. Watch very closely. There's a method to my madness. Once you say your name and then you say, I love you, watch very closely. Go like this. Now watch. Everybody, the ones that I can see, everybody put a smile on your face as you did it. Well, check this out. There's a method to my madness. As soon as you smile, it squeezes your brain and makes your body release dopamines, which tells the rest of you that this is a good thing. Let's do it again. I want more. Type of 1 if this makes sense. It's a practice. Okay. The last thing that I want you to do is this. Now, you can send a message privately on your chat room, okay? So if you look at your chat room, it says 2, and I want you to click on it till you see John Parker, because we have a gift for you with this outcome so that you continue shaping your thoughts, okay? If you click on it, then you see John Parker. Yeah, there you go. See, I want you to click on John Parker, which means this message is only going to go to John Parker and nobody else. So you don't have to worry about anybody else seeing your stuff, okay? And I want you to type an email address in that John can send you something. John's going to send you a gift, all right? If you enjoyed what you just saw, listen, I've known this man and his family for 30 years. And he's taught me so many things, and I'm so grateful for him. As he said earlier, I brought him in on my seminars that we do in Marbella, Spain, and where was the other one? Switzerland. And he always delivers, and I want you to enjoy that gift as well. So John is going to send you something. There you go. So if you, as you'll notice, it's not coming up on chat, so everybody else doesn't have your email address. But John's going to send you something. He's going to communicate with you. Okay. So type a 1 if this is helpful, what I've shared with you. Great. And so this is the tip of the iceberg. I have so much more that I could teach you, and I want you to. That's the other action step. So the number 1 thing is the mirror exercise. You do that, you're going to start to recognize that you're conditioning your brain to do that very thing that you're put on this planet to do, which is to self-love. And I know that might sound selfish, and I know that might sound arrogant, but the name of the game is you have something called a survival instinct, which means you love yourself enough to protect yourself from any harm. So go ahead and give it up. The second thing is type your email address in and John's going to send you something. I think I'm over my time, so I'll hang around as long as I can for questions after this. But I want to thank you. I honor you. I appreciate you. And I especially honor everybody on this call for having taken the time out of your life to allow myself and my dear friends to share this with you. God bless you. And remember this, life is exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold. I'm out.
Anyone want to raise a hand with a question or a comment? You could just show us a raise of hand and I think everyone's just so fulfilled and complete.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool.
We are.
We'll close it down there and say thank you to everybody. You know, John mentioned earlier, you know, my father said, talked about brushing your teeth as part of our physical hygiene. And, it, you know, reminded me, you know, Dalai Lama talks about physical and mental hygiene, and that so often we teach kids, meaning ourselves, we were taught how to practice our own physical hygiene, wash our hands, brush your teeth, right? Wash your body thoroughly. But so few times do we ever get lessons in mental hygiene. So hopefully today was a nice lesson in practicing our own mental hygiene, and we can take it and run with it and apply it so that we can just be more present and just live a more or happier existence and be more comfortable in our own skin. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for being here.
Thank you.
So good to see you all.
Thank you.